Welcome, everyone, to a podcast for the 2020 draft tournament. We're going to be talking about round one, recapping the matches, general, banter like we usually do. We're also going to be making some predictions for round two and a few other topics as well. Joining me today, we have Alice,
Hello, everyone.
Evolution,
Hey guys.
Math.
I hate murder.
That's about right. We also have Skimmy Style.
Hello.
And last but definitely least, TripL.
Why, thank you.
All right, so let's hop right in it. Let's talk about the draft first. Let's see if I have a good table that shows just the draft.
The one I sent you in your private chat has them in order.
Yeah, maybe I will actually use that. I don't want to, but maybe I will. Yeah, that'll work for that. So let's talk a little bit about the draft and how we feel that it came out. I guess maybe use a little hindsight 2020 after this, but what are y'all's first thoughts on just the overall draft of the two teams? What do you think, Math?
See, it was a good draft. I think, team one or Murder's team had a top-heavy draft. Definitely some good, solid picks. But I do feel first Ski Squad had the overall just solid pick after solid pick, a lot of value. He just did a really good job.
How did you pronounce that? Ski Squads?
Yeah, the Ski Squad.
What does everybody else think? Do you disagree with that? Do you think that Murder had a good solid mid-range as well, or do you all feel that Skabas kind of won draft later on while maybe not getting as many strong players at the beginning?
I think Murder's on a seesaw. He's got the heavy hitters on one side and the not so heavy hitters on the other, and kind of thinned out in the middle. Whereas I think Sky Boss has a really good
Solid baseline.
even mix up. Yeah, real good even mix up.
Oh, I see on your chart you've even placed.
Ignore that. Ignore that, sir. That needs to be updated because we had some very big upsets this round.
Well, I'm just gonna send this over to my group anyway, just in case. So that way we know what you think of everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just my input. That's all our lieutenant chat. Murder's team has a lieutenant's chat.
We have a chat as well, and that's why I'm going to send it over so they know how you
that's
rank
fine.
us.
Well, don't specifically say you. It wasn't singular. It was plural.
That's the point. Is it's not
input.
just your opinion. There's other people there who have valuable opinions.
That's fine. You want to read our playbook too? I'll give you that.
I think our playbook is pretty well written out. It's just lose except for
just stick Broly on everybody. That's our playbook.
The secret weapon.
Yeah, that was a super surprise. Like, here's the thing: is like I haven't been like keeping up with the community. I used to play a lot of Phantom Dust, like back on the original Xbox. Like I had well over 2,000 hours on the original Xbox version of the game. And I was super excited when it came in, and I played through the story. I did a little bit of online and stuff, and then kind of dropped out, and I wasn't part of the community. And seeing some of the players, it's been really cool. But here, like I feel like there was definitely like from just the things that I heard about different players, like versus watching their performance, a lot of people played way better than I expected or way worse than I expected. Keep in mind this is from almost like an outsider's perspective.
Well, it's a pretty odd tournament as well, just because of the mix of players. Like I'll just use an example. Watching, PDDCM go with Mirage, is a very, I would say, split
On paper, that looks
difference. I mean, I ain't one of your lieutenants, but I wouldn't have advised you that. But we see some matchups that can be pretty one-sided or lopsided when it comes to the partners as well. We may not see that in later rounds. It depends. It's the strategy of the teams. One team might start stacking all of their best players together, or vice versa. Continuing to try and spread them out. So it's just interesting to see some of these top players trying to adapt to new partners as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
not having a lot of info on everybody, these new players, a lot of these older players don't know a lot of these new players coming in. So
I don't think anyone had
I
any
think,
information on me at all.
yeah, I think that first round, prime example, I think Skibos and TripL's first round versus Jay and Game God, that definitely was a rude awakening because I didn't have much info on them. I'm pretty sure Jay didn't or Game God. And that was a pretty interesting match right there.
We'll talk about just how interesting it was later on. We'll have plenty to say, I'm sure.
Before we do move on,
Go
I
ahead.
wanted to just say really quickly that I think part of the strength that Ska has with the draft pick is that the Ska team's low end, since our power curves, so to speak, is a lot more balanced than Murder's team, we can field a lot more appropriately synergistic teams than Murder can. Because Murder is going to have to either field two of the top tiers together to have just a truly brutal team to go against, or a top tier and someone who's just going to be holding someone back. Whereas Ska's team can go ahead and put their S tier with any of their lower end, but still have a functional team, if that makes sense.
Scott got Ebony, mans. So, you can put him with anybody. I was very jealous of that pick.
Who wouldn't be?
Ebony's a
I could tell you right now, me,
beast.
because I didn't know anyone, so I wasn't jealous. If it makes you feel better. But I will say, like, from watching Ebony, I understand why Skabas is like really confident, and I think he actually said specifically, "Oh, he's just a free win." He's like, whatever I put him against, he's just a free win. But just analyzing his play, like, there's definitely things that could be done to counter that play style. But the problem is you probably have to pick the right people or people who can play in an appropriate game style to actually counter how Ebony plays.
I don't want to get off on too much with.
Well, you didn't get off on anything because your mic cut out.
Whoa, good job.
Weird. It's like raising the volume on its own and shit. All right, I'm going speakerphone. Hopefully the quality doesn't deteriorate too bad. Right.
RIP quality.
You guys still hear me?
Yep.
Better.
Does that sound good? Really? Okay, good. I gotta get a new mic.
What were you getting at, though?
Well, I was gonna say I didn't want to get off too much on a tangent because we have a itinerary set, but no matter how much you prepare for a player like Ebony, it's his play style. Still, you could have the perfect Arsenal build, and it's still difficult to counter the way he plays. So,
Agreed. There are a couple players in the game and some in this tournament still that they just have such odd play styles that it's almost like you have to experience it to know how to deal with it.
right.
Let's go ahead and hit our next subtopic. What was your most surprising draft pick? That could be somebody being picked late, somebody being picked early, or what team they ended up on. Let's start from the bottom of our list of people here. Trip, who was your most surprising pick?
Weirdly enough, I'm going to go with Lil Carbon because she's a relative newcomer to the game and doesn't have the hundreds of hours of experience some of the more seasoned of us have put in. She's shown some incredible capacity for growth. Like, I played her about 2 weeks apart, and just the rate at which she was improving was incredible. And I think she's going to easily work her way up into the upper echelons of the tournament quickly as the tournament progresses. I would have picked her over some of the lower seeded players.
I can tell you why we picked her. She uses shields, man. That's more than a lot of players in this game do.
Exactly.
She hits her shield button. That was the reason.
What about you, Skimmy?
I'm gonna say like the thing that surprised me is that I didn't get picked last. Like to be straight up honest, because I'm as I think I've mentioned already a couple times, but I'm the one of the players that no one had any information on, a complete unknown. So basically, I'm just a shot in the dark for the most part, and I just assumed that I would be very last picked, and I was close to last picked, but not quite very last picked. So that was a big surprise for me.
Nice. What about you, Math?
Honestly, I think my pick would probably be Nathan. I thought he'd go a little bit higher. Nathan and Wolfo are just veteran players, and they've got a pretty decent reputation around the community. So Nathan being picked so low, not calling anything out, but after like Killer Mark and stuff like that, I think I was a little bit surprised about that.
Yeah, I thought it was a little surprising that he was picked so late as well. But he was a late pick for our team, so it came out as quite valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Evolution?
Math is my pick, man. He got picked a bit later than I expected. I thought for sure he'd be in the top 4.
Interesting. What about you, Alice?
Probably that will be TripL or Broly. They pick those unknown players very 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 early.
Yeah, I thought it was surprising,
Definitely.
especially TripL came out as, I think he was the 3rd draft pick.
Third, yeah.
Yeah, which, especially for somebody who's lesser known, I wouldn't say completely unknown, but somebody who's lesser known was, I thought, pretty bold of Skaboss. But in round 1, he showed up, so it's hard to dispute it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what was our next topic? Where'd that go?
Fennec is the R9, I bet.
All right, I guess we're on to the recap now. So let's go on to the round 1 recap. So let's just take it from the top here, from what I have listed. We had Skimmy Style and Snow Schmidt versus Alice and Odin. We've got a couple of you in here. So Alice, why don't you tell us about that matchup?
Which one? Odin and me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about the palace plan in our team chat. Odin was going to run Vicious and me the 0 deck. And I told Odin to remove his key pans from his arsenal. so Palace would have been a different story than me manually aiming dragons at these pole dancers. So anyway, lasers in highway, the King Arthur in city. And at Pano, Odin was running a 20 attacks, 5 shield version of an arsenal of mine that it's a synergy between memory of battle and hit from void. But I totally waste my 30 aura level with those charged particles, and when Schmidt was popping my skills, I couldn't even use my photon burst.
Yeah, it came out a pretty rough series for you guys. I believe it was a 3-0 in Schmidt
Yeah, it
and
was a
Skimmy's
3-0.
favor.
Yeah.
How was that match from your perspective, Skimmy?
So it was really good. I kind of liked the progression of the match in general, because it felt like the first one it just felt like kind of nothing happened. And then like the second one, like the second game was kind of just like it was a pretty clean stop, and then the third one it just got like a better, more like more balanced game. And then the third one was so back and forth, and it just felt like the quality of the games just went up and up and up and up and up. We actually had a plan in the very first round actually, as well. And at the very last minute, Schmidt was like, "We're not doing that." He's like, "Play memory or play not sorry memory." He said, "Play bravery." So I switched. We were actually going to play some jank, but we decided not to. Or he decided not to actually. Last minute. It was the original plan, but we didn't. And I mean, I'm okay with it with the draw on that. But yeah, I felt like it was a good game in general because I just liked how the game, or a good match I should say, because it felt like the games, like especially when I went back and rewatched it because my sister really wanted to watch it with me because I told her I was in a tournament, and me and her used to play when we were younger when I was in high school. And I loved just rewatching that game and just seeing how the games just like it had a nice curve, like just like an upward trajectory. How like it was a rough match for them, but like that last game was so back and forth and it was so intense, and it just my heart was racing. It's great.
Nice. What did you think of that match as a viewer, Trip? Is it TripL? How do I say your name?
Really, it's however you want to pronounce it, because the only reason I have this moniker in the first place is someone couldn't remember my real name and just had 3 guesses and gave up and called me TripL. So you can go with
Is your
TripL
name
if that
like
works.
Louis Loves Lakes?
It's long, luscious locks because I refuse to cut my hair because I'm lazy.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Long, luscious locks. Okay, sorry. Sidetracked. How did you like that match as a viewer? What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was definitely. I agree with Ailes and Skimmy's interpretation of it. It certainly felt like Skimmy and Schmidt team were more in control of the first 2 matches, but the third was a real scrappy game, and that just came down to the part of the luck of positioning and also the skills of the players. I don't really have too much to add on that subject.
Does anybody else have anything else they want to touch on that matchup?
I think
Schmidt did great,
Alice
man.
is a mad scientist. Part 2 like Sandal.
I'm just going to change
I
one letter
think
there. M to a B. He's a bad scientist.
I think that sometimes he might overthink the situation, but it was a good match. It was entertaining. You know, it's always good to see something new and something or fresh.
It is
in the
always a
tournament scene.
treat to watch him play. It's always fun.
Definitely.
All right, let's hit the next match then. We had Orange Baby and Snowtide versus Anubis and Snowrise. What was the score on this one? I don't recall.
3-2, I believe.
Yeah, that
3-2,
was one
yeah.
of our actually close series. That one was.
I
a lot
really
of
like
fun.
that one. That was my favorite, I would say.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us more about it then?
All right, so one thing that I thought was really nice is the Orange Baby Jank he did not interrupt his teammate during those games, which was really great because he's one of the few people that I had actually played like a decent bit with, and I was very familiar with it, and I was just like, I was worried that he was going to like interrupt his teammate, and they played so well together, and he picked time, like appropriate times to use his quantum decay, his things like that, and it didn't seem like it was making it difficult for his teammate, and it was overall just like really good. Like I really enjoyed just like watching him and like knowing that like his awareness like of like, hey, this is an appropriate time, I can use this, it doesn't hurt my teammate, it's gonna really mess up my opponents, and it seemed like Like just like you could tell he had so much experience in the game, and that also that he just didn't like it didn't conflict with his teammate. I really like that.
That might be the first time anybody said that about Orange Baby.
Wow.
Well, allow me to correct that course. No, Orange did good. I got really irritated when his teammate made the pickup on Palace and died right next to his spawn, and instead of picking him up, Orange ran around the map to put off a violent change, and instead of just picking his teammate up.
He does tunnel vision a bit on that kind of stuff, and that
He really does.
it's a bit of a weakness, but it can also be a strength. He does get things done sometimes, and mechanically he's still pretty solid. It was a really close series all around. I think that was definitely one of the fun ones to watch. I think wasn't the last game like Refinery and like he and Snowtide were like at this huge lead, and it was a big comeback win, wasn't it, for Rise and Anubis, or am I thinking a different match?
No, you're thinking of the right one.
You're thinking the right one.
Yeah. I remember I thought they were out. I was like, dang, they just got smacked in game 5, and then they managed to crawl back into that one.
Crawled up in that ass.
Does anybody else got more they want to talk about or add to that matchup? Math?
No, I didn't. I don't. I can't even recall that game.
I've been playing a decent amount of pickup games with Orange Baby recently because he tends to be on more of the night crew side of things, and I have to say it's almost night and day playing him in a pickup game and seeing his tournament performance, especially with the things like making sure he uses quantum decays and all that jank at appropriate times. I think he's certainly capable of the communication in a pickup game, but I don't see him using that communication.
I played with Orange the
Capable?
other day in a pickup game, and I just hit Bravery, and I got exhausted as I was using Bravery. And fucking Orange goes and hangs on Palace. He breaks both sides of the bridge and hangs in an irregular rhythm in the middle. Like, you piece of shit.
Yes.
That's the most
that sounds-
Orange Baby thing I've heard all day.
That sounds like the kind of torture that I had my first game when I go Bravery and immediately violent change. Vicious balance is us all down to 0. I'm like, well, I have no aura. I'm like, I'm just running around pick up
Y'all
bot.
pulled out a hell of a draw on that match.
Yeah.
All right, here's the next one. This is the one that everybody's been waiting for.
Yikes.
We had Game God and Jay taking on team captain himself, the first Ska boss, and TripL, Long Luscious Locks. Why don't you tell us more about that matchup, Math?
Man, I watched it and I thought it was going to be a great match. I was like, oh man, I was very interested.
It sure was a great match for us.
I never played with Skibos really. Well, I think I may have played with him maybe once or triple. Like, didn't know what was going to come out of him. So I actually thought Jay and Game Guy were probably going to pull it out, but man, oh man, that first match on Palace, that jump to the
The middle of
reduce?
the bridge.
Yeah,
And a
was it
reduce entropy with
entropy?
a friendship build.
Yeah, and then the friendships, I was like, oh no, uh-oh, here we go. And then you hear Jay like, I don't have anything. And then he's like trying to talk to Game God and there's silence. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And it didn't end good. So yeah, that was pretty rough.
So, Long Luscious Locks, while you're here with us, which of your 3 crushing victories was most satisfying?
Definitely that one on Palace because I had that stupid idea for reduce entropy kicking around for a while and went, wait a minute, if I have a partner, this gets really stupid. And the whole plan was just to not even, we weren't so much trying to win on Palace as we were trying to demoralize on Palace.
We already knew we
And
were going to win. We just wanted to break their spirits.
no, it was break their spirit first, win maybe. But it worked as well as expected, and you could just hear the tilt in Game God's voice, and that was when I knew that we really got that down.
Yeah, it was pretty similar to a build I used to run with Monkey in previous tag tournaments, a friendship reduce entropy deck, and you guys pulled it off really well. Remind us how the second two games went, games 2 and 3.
Game two, I was in much more of a support role to Ska, who just got on quick vibration and then just pummeled Game God, who had that terrible spawn on City with vibration laser, and like you said, he just would not come down from his little perch up there and got annihilated for it. I was just trying to keep Jay off of Skaboss, and that just let us carry the momentum through. And then game three, the two of us knew we were in a solid lead already and wanted to see if we could close it out with just some quick damage, and so that's why the both of us ran bravery decks.
Nice.
It was an impressive showing for sure.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have more they want to add to that match?
I gave a heads up ahead of time. I've played a game or two with old Dana here, and I warned my teammates he wasn't no slouch. He actually reminds me a lot like an 06 version of more like a 05 version of you, like just jumping swords, being a cocky little asshole.
You
that
know
sort of
who
thing.
Dana reminds me of, and I said this, Mimic. He reminds me of
Not
Mimic
in
a
attitude.
lot.
Not
in
though.
attitude, but game
Mimic's a
style.
cocky fuck.
I didn't see nearly enough blazing for him to be Mimic.
Or memory of battle.
It was like literally all he used was like bravery, blazing, and memory.
Yeah, I liked Mimic.
I do. I miss Mimic. I used to play some Apex with him, but I haven't seen him on here in a while. I thought that match was going to be closer as well. I was really surprised at how one-sided it was, but it looked like Jay and Game God really just didn't manage to get anything put together. Skaboss and TripL looked like they were a unit, whereas Jay and Game God were clearly just separate people existing in a room together, it felt like.
Well, after Palace, that's generally what happens when, a match goes down like that right away.
I mean, they broke their spirits. They did what they wanted.
Yeah. Not much you can do beyond that.
Yeah, and especially at that point, communication breaks down because you're not long-term partners and you're not able to get the communication flowing right again. And yeah, it's pretty difficult to bounce back from something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hit the next matchup. We had Shadow Shield and Kamikaze Mario versus Some Poor Choices and Evolution.
Welcome to the dance floor.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit, remind us how that match went, Evolution. And I don't mean that in a snarky way.
We came out strong, really strong. Just running. I don't know. I made the last second call. We had a different arsenal setup planned. Like we planned it for like 2 days, and then like split second, I was like, you know what? Fuck that. We're both running some sort of vibration setup, and I hit vibration really fast, and I wasn't focused on like trying to one-on-one anybody from blaster shots. I was merely just sitting in the background looking to see who was targeting choices and just popping them in the back. And then after that,
After that, Mario punched in, clocked in.
Well, I watched your cast on it, and you didn't have a good angle of what was going on. Every manual that he hit on me, I also lightning sorted him for 4. So I was taking his shields, or not 4, 3. He was hitting me for 4, and I was hitting him for 3, but taking his shields. And I was decoying them both too. I had them both decoyed, and I don't know what happened with choices. He just flubbed it and walked off the map. After that, I was so tilted, man. I lost every ounce of any focus after that. And it just went downhill from there.
I can also, I can understand that sentiment. It's all Choice's fault. It's always been his fault. It'll always be his
It's
fault.
not necessarily his fault, but they were both decoyed, and he walked off the map.
It's not necessarily his fault, but some poor choices. What the hell?
Because some poor choices are better than all poor choices.
There you go.
I felt like that match also saw similar problems as like the J and Game God. It felt like I saw you guys had at least better synergy, but it still felt like Mario and Shadow Shield were working better as a unit than you guys were. Like you both played well, but it felt like you didn't play as well together in that series.
We came out strong, man. It's just, you know what happens? You get tilted, and it just all goes to shit.
What did you think of that series, Trip?
I went ahead and liked it. As I've liked all these series, I haven't found a single one of these games I haven't enjoyed. They've all been a blast to watch. I agree with Evo's interpretation on it that getting tilted early on with the some poor choices made can lead to a chain reaction and a breakdown in communication, as others have said. I thought that Mario and Shadow Shield had that they went ahead and had good arsenals fielded in every match. They all felt like they had the right sort of things to pull. There wasn't anything that was specifically too out there or too middle of the road, but it felt like they took good core concepts, added just enough spice to them to make them a little unpredictable, and were able to get some solid wins with those.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of our closer series that with a little bit here and there could have gone either way. What did you think of that series, Skimmy?
Wait, which one were we talking about again? I'm sorry.
Choices in Evo versus Mario and Shadow Shield.
Yeah, that one. That was one of the. Was that the last one of the first round?
No.
No.
So I'm trying to remember which one that one was.
It was a whole lot of Dance of Death. And a
Dance
whole
of
lot
Death
Last
and-
Supper.
Oh, that one. I liked Dance of Death. That is one of my favorite skills. That like I feel like
If
against
you like Dance of Death, make sure you have your team put you against Shadow Shield next round.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the matches have already been selected. Oh, actually, I could next round. Never mind. I see what you're
For
saying.
round 3.
Oh, okay. All right, Fortress of Iron. Just full arsenal Fortress of Iron. Got it.
Did you see
Okay, yeah,
that
that was-
matchup, Alice? What'd you think?
I thought we were gonna see more psycho boards in Refinery, but was Blaster and Laser that won that game.
Yeah, it looks like he just didn't draw it in time for it to put in too much work, but he had enough variability in that arsenal that he was still able to do what was necessary to pull out the win.
Yep.
Does anybody else
I
have
jumped
more?
down on Refinery too for the revive. I tried to move as close as I could, and I was calling out the whole time, "Come to me, come to me! I'm in your spawn." And when I died, I noticed he was trying to finish off that 1 health on Shadow or 2 health, whatever it was. Which I understand, like, put him down, then we can revive and double team. But it sucks in hindsight. Hindsight 2020.
That's a party I could get behind for this election. Anybody else got more they want to add to that matchup?
I gotta say, me personally, I've never played against Shadow Shield in a in competitive match, but I gotta say, it must be a different thing facing that Dance of Death in competitive because he gets everybody with it. It's like
Did he?
usually
actually
you
hit
walk
a
it very
single one?
easily.
Did he hit?
I think on the
panel
deck he used it, didn't he?
I think he actually hit me once on Pano. I think
He
you're
didn't
right.
hit quite as many as he usually does, but
He definitely hit it a lot.
But
he
one
can
is
still
enough.
get you. He can still get you.
He's very good at
Yeah.
walking swords. That's where his real skill lies. He's very patient and he's very good at walking swords.
And
He'll
you can't
bait out that sword.
just
And he'll make magic with
override
that.
Mario, man.
I've never seen anybody that can hit it as consistently as he does. I aspire
Yeah.
to that level of skill with it one day.
If I could ever bring myself to throw either of those moves into an arsenal, I too would want to
I
aspire to be
am
that
liking Psycho Burst lately. I don't like running Quantum Amp Psycho Burst, but I like it as a one-off skill in a couple of arsenals.
good. I like it for breaking fortress.
I think if you're gonna play Psycho Burst, you might as well play Quantum Amp. It helps yourself, it helps you, helps your teammate, and also it's gonna
I'll
make
tell
your
you
Psycho
this,
Burst
every
more
time
damage.
Shadow
Stand
Shield-
helping out somebody else on the other team.
Every single time Shadow Shield has quantum amped, he's done nothing but help me.
Yep.
Every time.
Most people will get to a high enough aura level that you're going to be putting in some decent damage numbers no matter what, and I do not want to quantum amp them and help them get out of a bad aura start.
You know what? I think that makes sense because I'm pretty sure part of the reason why I was able to get into vibration so quickly on the highway game was because the other team quantum amped, and I got some free aura off that, and I was able to get vibration so quickly because of it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would advise anybody who's playing it, including him, is just stop with the quantum amps.
I agree.
All right. I have been dishing it out on just about everybody, so here it's my turn now. We've got Guinan and Brawley versus the failure of a second round draft pick and Nathan. Lay it on me. Just smack
I
the
just want to
shit
say
out of
one
me.
thing. I am happy to not be the only one who lost a series to my team.
Come
I
on, that's
think, man,
lightweight stuff.
honestly,
Somebody take the gloves off and go
that
in.
game was it was just tough, man. I watched it live, and
Yeah, it's really brutal.
the positioning that you guys got on some of the maps, and then the fast start that the Guinan and Brawley got. I like Brawley literally ran into each one of your bases with a flame sword and did not leave.
I
And
was
just
so
chased
surprised.
you around. And
I was
just
so
chased
surprised
you
about that
guys
game.
around.
Like just seeing like Brawley in general, like knowing that there was no mic coordination, no talking, like that was just crazy. You know what I mean?
Brawley can hear, and
Okay.
he has adapted very well because he has no mic to taking the support role. He moves from what I have been told by Gagnon practicing with him all week. Broly moves when Gagnon moves. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if
Super supportive.
Broly saw somebody going for Gagnon, he wasn't waiting for them to get there to him. He was already on the move over to double team. And like that is if you give Broly a mic, man, I'm telling you, that dude would be a beast.
I mean, he already is a beast. Like that was so crazy.
He hit some gnarly aims too. He knocked Nathan mid cartwheel from the boxes on City with a manual aim, and I think he got Bregan back to back on Sign with a Viblazer.
Those weren't manual aim though. He was shooting them from up above and stuff.
No, I'm
manual
talking
aim.
when you went into his base and died in his base at the very end on Sign.
Oh, yeah, I think he may have hit one or two in there.
Yeah, he hit one as you cut the corner, and then when you went towards the pillar, he hit you again. He actually threaded the needle on that. He almost hit. I thought he was going to hit Gagnon too, but he threaded it right between Gagnon and the wall and nailed you.
Yeah, I think that was a surprisingly strong pairing.
Oh yeah.
Nobody outside of I guess Murder really knew much about Brawley, and I was actually of the opinion, and I know it sounds bad because it comes after I lost to him, but I thought that was actually the strongest pairing that Murder's team had in that round.
It was a really good pairing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's any other
it was.
pairing that they would have lost to. Like, they beat Jay and Game God. They beat, I think, Murder and War Machine. They beat PDDCM and Mirage. I think that was actually the strongest pairing that you guys put out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what's funny is when we were matching it up, we were like, "Oh God, he doesn't have a mic. Who can we put him with that can carry him, you know, and take command?" And like, man, if you watch that match, man, Broly was putting out just as much, if not more, pressure and damage than Gagnon was.
Oh yeah.
It was very impressive.
Brawley was
Very-
was a perfect support, just staying on them with the flame sword in their face, good defensively, not taking a whole bunch of damage all the time, keeping himself alive. It was just perfect.
The flame sword hits on Palace in the beginning, I was like, okay, anyone can do that. But dude, he was like watching Nathan, and Bregan was firing Rians at him from the back, and he was just blindly cartwheeling them back to back. Like, it was impressive.
And that blazing deck, the blazing fireball that Guiding had was doing a ton of support work
Oh yeah.
while he was in his face, ton. So it was just the perfect mix. And I don't know who picked Sign for the last board. That was a horrible decision.
I will say this though, Bregan's expecting us to
Nathan
bash
called it.
on him. He got a horrible draw on City, dual pit, no aura. You know, it was just bad from the start. Broly wouldn't let off a Nathan, so Bregan couldn't even take the time to sit in his spawn and get a decent hand. Like it was rough.
Yeah.
But
and-
I have to throw in some shade. The Palace streak is over.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I heard about that
Yes.
power streak. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll just have to start it
Ah.
over.
Yeah.
Well, that is one thing. There's always going to be more Palace games.
Yeah.
That's true. Beware whoever faces me next on Palace.
Well, we could actually tell who that is. Matches have been set.
I don't even remember. Oh yeah, it's choices. Playing choices in alcohol. All right, let's move through these a little faster, because we're taking quite a while on some of this, and we're still going to make some predictions. So we had Murder and War Machine versus Ebony and Jester.
Longest
and it was
match
a
of the
long
Jesus.
series. Wasn't the
Yeah.
longest in history because it didn't have choices in it.
Yeah, that was just a long match. Ebony, everybody knows, he's gonna lull you to sleep. If you don't have enough tax, he's gonna take them all. He's gonna recall. He's gonna pop you out, and he's for the long game. He's not a fast-moving, get the game over quick. You gotta be ready for a long haul game with him, and usually you're gonna lose that. So that's how all the games went, and that's what happened. They lost.
Yeah, I will say maybe not the longest series ever, but I bet you that was the longest 3-0 ever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It was still like, what, 56 minutes for what came out to be a 3-0? Jeez.
Oh my god! Like I remember like I was writing. I was watching that from the car with like kind of like I kept getting buffering. So I was trying to watch the stream while I was writing like an hour car ride to my parents' house. Like and it was right about the time I was getting there was about the time it was finishing up.
I do want to throw it on Sardonic Jester, man. His head stayed in the game. Like even the Palace match would have probably tilted a lot of people.
I would say he got his head back in the game. He was definitely out of the game on Palace.
Yeah.
He spent more time on gray screen than he did actually alive.
He came back pretty hard in the other games, like that Protect Circle, I think it was. Protection Circle.
Yeah, he put in some work in later rounds, but clearly he started off on a stumble, but he was able to get his feet back under. But man, Palace was rough. It really was.
Yeah.
Like he had some of those deaths where it's like, okay, yeah, they're just, they've got him camped pretty hard, but there were some other ones you're like, yeah, that boy's tilted. That poor bastard's tilted.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I'm just glad he was able to get his mental back and come back in and have a strong showing in the matches.
Definitely some
afterwards.
resilience.
Also,
Murder
shout
had a
out,
pretty
we
rough
spent like
team, man.
15 minutes. I'm gonna wank it a little bit here too, but we spent like 15 minutes just gushing over these wonderful spreadsheets, which do come from Sardonic Jester.
They were
So-
beautiful.
Everyone
Amazing.
in the tournament should be like DMing this guy and thanking him for the extra work he's put in for these spreadsheets because they are glorious and well done. Thank you, Jester, for that.
Definitely.
Anyone else got more they want to add to that matchup?
Murder had a couple mishaps, man. His damn stream, no more streaming, Murder. Covered the clock, so he didn't know he had like 18 seconds left or something like that on one of the matches. And then also, like, I think it was City. He had to overwrite like 7 attacks right off the beginning. And anyone who plays Ebony knows you do not want to start overwriting attacks because you're not going to have very many as is. So, pretty rough.
I just liked watching Murder die. It was pretty entertaining to me.
Yeah, that's honestly a perverse pleasure of mine. It's actually both Murder and Ebony. I enjoy watching them both die, but now Ebony's on my team, so I enjoy watching him die a little bit less. A little bit less. It's mostly because I can't kill them with their 10 shields.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit the next matchup. We had PDDCM and Mirage versus Killamark and Math. Why don't you just give us a little bit on how that went, Math, since you were involved in that one?
I came in, with a pretty good game plan for Mark and us. I had a little bit of chip on my shoulder to try to make sure that I got the W as fast as possible. Was a little salty in the draft, so I was like, you know what, let's see what I can do and get some of that back. But Mark is basically Mark was playing in a support role. It was almost similar to how Gagnon and Brawley played. I was the up face, get at him, keep him off of Mark, where Mark just laid down support. The Palace match didn't go as we planned. Mark didn't get his dash fast enough, and I couldn't keep him alive, and we just got destroyed. So it wasn't destroyed, but they definitely won decisively. The second match was on Highway, and we ran a lapse with stat buffing, and they had no answer for it. So we were +6 in speed and +3 on attack, and just basically Rian came up there, and I was basically beating him up by myself while Mark was getting all set up, but it's so hard for him to touch, with that speed. It just ended pretty quickly, and then gosh, what did we run on panel? I think Mark ran Rico and I just ran shields and swords, and I think me and PD had more one-on-one in that one than any other match.
I
Mark
thought that
just
one
got
was
him
really
inside.
close. Mirage even hit a couple
Yeah.
of good dances of death in that match.
Yeah, I think I can't really remember how that one went down. I know Mark had the Rico, and Mirage went down in the hallway, and I just, PD tried to get him and just couldn't make it. And then the City one was laser hell. They got the bottom bitch spawns, and we had the top, the high ground, and I got on vibe in like 2 seconds, and it was Mirage just couldn't stay alive, and it was pretty over pretty quick.
Did anybody else get a chance to see that match live? Or am I the only one that saw it?
No, I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see it at all because there was a recording issue, right?
Yeah, that one had the recording issue, but it was streamed. Trip, did you watch it on stream?
I caught just the tail end of it. Unfortunately, not enough to have any accurate commentary.
Okay. Well, for me, I found it as an interesting one because I thought this was kind of the clash of philosophies here between the two teams. And so I thought this was actually one of the more interesting matches of the round because in my mind, we had PDDCM, who is, the number one pick, looking fantastic, an S tier player, and placed with Mirage, who I would put in a much lower tier, especially as he's rusty, versus people that I would have placed in like a high A and B tier together. So we have two more high to mid range players who are a more even mix versus a much more varied mix to see, what carries and what doesn't. And so I thought it was really interesting to see, because that seemed almost to me like the different philosophies and the way these two teams drafted. Is Murder drafted heavily at the top, a little bit weaker at the bottom, and then Ska Boss was stronger through the middle throughout, maybe a little weaker at the top. And so it was just interesting to see how it played out, because I wasn't sure if, PD could carry against that. And it turns out that the stronger middle ground was more important here. And I think that also showed throughout the round and not just in this matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's just one round. Things could change.
And of course, I've got to face him again.
PD's going to be itching for his revenge.
Yeah, of course. I love PD. PD, if you're listening, I love you. It's okay. Great guy.
PD's sitting there listening. He's got like a little voodoo doll with math written on it, and he's just stabbing it over and over.
Yeah, gosh.
Plotting his revenge, building another arsenal.
I know.
I know he was frustrated by that outcome. He wants it. He does. I bet you he's actually quite glad to have the rematch.
Oh yeah, I'm if I was him, I would be too. Right? Just as a competitive standpoint. And I respect PD as a great player, so I'm happy to face him again. I just didn't want to see him so soon, but it is what it is.
Math is shaking in his boots.
Yeah.
All right, last matchup, we had Carbon and Mantis versus Affin and Darcia. Who got a chance to watch that match and remembers it well enough to take it away?
I did pretty recently.
All right, give us the rundown, Trip.
I definitely think it was. Wait, sorry, my bad. It was the Little Carbon matchup, right?
Yeah, this would be last week's Low Carbon matchup. I know we had the first Low Carbon matchup this week, so last week.
This was the Algo and Carbon versus Darcia and Affin.
Yeah, this is the one where we didn't get the end of the last game in.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Bregan
that
had
one.
the both boys.
And we had to get Affin's summary of it. Yeah. So that one I'm a little sketchier on, but I still think I can go ahead and commentate on it. I was really impressed with Carbon showing, even though they didn't. Their team didn't pick up that round. She's just really good at the dodge, the shield use. She stays alive a lot better than some of those other C tier players, and she goes ahead and is able to make pickups. And that ability to make pickups, Gay certainly prevented the game from being more of a beatdown than it could have been. The games all felt like they were pretty close, and I think that it was definitely a very good showing for all players involved.
Yeah, I watched a little
closest-
bit of the first match, and I seen Carbon has definitely picked up from when I've played with her. Definitely picked up better skill in dodging and catching those attacks with her shields. Definitely, I was impressed.
Yeah, and she was so like unconfident, but she put up like a good fight and whatnot. Like the ability to like dodge and block is like a really helpful skill, and I've seen a lot of people
guys,
choose
I
not to
gotta
block.
go. My kids are acting up.
Okay,
Alrighty.
a lot of people either aren't able to or choose not to block. I assume a lot of them is they choose not to, but yeah, I've noticed, and that's a skill that you just want people to have.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people who definitely need to work on their shield timing and just being in general more willing to shield. And I've seen that as an improvement in her play as well. Any other thoughts on that matchup? Well, I guess I'll just round it off briefly. I was also impressed with Affin and Darcia. I honestly, given the level of play that Carbon is starting to show, and she was playing with alcohol, I would have favored them in that matchup, I think. But Affin and Darcia played well enough together with some clutch plays throughout the series from both players that they were able to pull that series out. So I actually found that win impressive on their end.
Mm-hmm.
There was one really great moment where I think Affin managed to dump 2 flame swords in a row.
Yeah, he had some
Palace,
good dodges
was
there
it?
on Palace. He was playing pretty well in the melee.
Affin actually mislabeled them ice swords. They weren't.
Typical Affin. All right. I guess let's do the first match of round 2 then, the one that already happened, and then we'll start making some predictions, and we'll try and roll through those pretty quick. So while we're talking about this next matchup, if you're not already familiar and don't already have a prediction for the following matches, go ahead and start thinking of your predictions now, because I want to move through those a little quicker because we're starting to take a little bit too much time here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for the first match of round 2, it took place really quickly. We just talked about her. It was Lil Carbon and Orange Baby versus, once again, we just talked about him, Affin Show, mislabeler of skills, and his partner this time was Alice, who we have with us. You want to tell us a bit about that match, Alice?
Sure. So I was asking for reference from Orange. You know how this guy plays, what he runs, what skills he likes to use. And my consensus was that the most neutral arsenal that I could play against him was my zero deck, because was the most safe thing that I could play against Orange.
You're not wrong.
But it's funny because I planned so much with Odin in the round 1 match. We planned. We're gonna play this in this map. We're gonna choose this map if we lose, and just me and Afin rushing the whole series was enough to win.
Yeah, that was a fun series to watch, too. I especially liked the last one with the +9 Gugnir that you basically 2v1'd while Affin
Oh yeah, that
played
was.
Tiddlywinks in his base.
I remember that. He's just like, it's like, I feel useless in this game. Like I could hear him talking during that. I remember that. He's just like, I feel useless. He's like, oh, there you go, just 2v1 them.
Well, I guess if they don't have any way to get rid of stats, which I thought was a pretty big oversight on their part, no Return to Nature, Purify, Armoros, nothing inside of. I guess they had a chance to get through at least 15 capsules each.
He tried Quantum Decay, but was too late for.
Well, I mean,
for
your
stop my
Gugnir
booster.
cost 0 anyway, so it's not like
Yeah.
you cared. Not at that point. No, it was too late, and they didn't seem to have an answer for stats whatsoever, and they just let you run wild with it, and definitely paid for it. All right, let's move into predictions then. We'll go from the top to the bottom. So if you're looking at the week 2 stats that I sent you. So we've got, for the first matchup, it's Murder and Evo versus Skaboss and Jester. Alice, what's your prediction? Who wins and what's the score?
Okay, I'm gonna go with my team. I think that Cabos and Jester are gonna make a good series. 3-1, I'm gonna say.
3-1 to Skaboss and Jester. And what makes the difference for them winning?
I think that Evo and well, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna say 3-2, because Evo and Murder can coordinate themselves very well to win the match, but but I don't know. I think that Eska and Jesser can pull this out.
What's your prediction, Math?
I'm going to give it to Murder and Evo. I think it's going to be super close though. I think it's going to be 3-2-1, one tie, 3 wins, 2 losses on the other team. So I think it's going to be a super close game, but I think they're going to pull out.
Skimmy?
Murder's going to win as actually a captain this time.
Okay. I actually do think I'm also in favor of the Murder and Evo. And for what I'm thinking is probably 3-1. And I think, like, from the performance I've seen of both the teams, they seem pretty even. But I feel like the deciding factor is actually just going to be motivation. I feel like our team right now, we're really motivated to win, and we're really working, we're working better. I don't think last week we did as much prep before our matches, but now our teams are trying to play games together, and I think motivation is just going to be a key factor.
Interesting. What about you, TripL?
I think Skabas and Jester are going to take it, and I think they're going to take it 3-1 just because Skabas is very good at communicating, and he's got the capabilities and the sort of skill set to just have such an effective dialogue and call-outs with his partner that while Murder and Evo and Ska and Jester are all roughly on the same skill level, that Scott and Jester, I know they've played together recently as well. They're just going to be able to have more cohesion and better strategies to go ahead and carry them through it. I think they're going to take it 3-1.
But can Skabas pick up Jester 13 times on Palace? I'm going to estimate no, and I think that's why Murder and Evo most likely I think they're favored in the series. I don't think Skabas and Jester are outclassed, but Murder and Evo have a lot of long-standing synergy. They've almost tagged together in a couple of tournaments, and I think they're going to have the greater synergy and overall skill. So I think Skabas and Jester definitely have an uphill battle here, but I think it's definitely going to be one of my favorites of this round. Our next match is Guinan and Jay versus Mario and Ebony. Who do you think takes this one, Math, and why?
Man, this is another super close one. I honestly, I really don't know. This one is actually a toss-up for me. I think I'm gonna
based
go
on my personal player rankings, this is about as close a matchup as you can get because you take two S tier players, Guinan and Ebony. I would have had them fourth pick around my total picks overall, and then Jay and Mario are fifth and sixth right after. They're basically equal in skill on both ends.
Absolutely. I think this is probably the most even out of all the matchups, probably, to me personally. I think I'm going to give it to Ebony and Kamikaze just because I think Ebony's style just negates so much of most people's arsenal. So I got to give it to them an edge. Close matches, 3-2.
What about you, Alice?
I'm gonna agree with you guys. I think it's gonna be a very, very close matchup. But I think that Ebony is gonna be the difference in this match.
Trip?
Pretty much the same as everyone else. I think Ebony is really going to shut Jay down. He's going to just slurp up all of his attacks, and it'll essentially be a 2v1 at that point. I think the trick will be Ebony and Mario maintaining health until Jay runs out of attacks on Ebony. It'll come out to be a 3-1 or 3-2. Still really close, but...
Skimmy, are you going to break the other way?
No, I'm
tribal lines.
I'm definitely not breaking the other way. I totally agree with what everyone else has said. I feel like it's really close. especially just like having with what I've seen from the players. But I like Ebony just seems to like just hold the line so well, and with all those defenses and races, it just seems like they taking one player out. If Ebony can just take out one player, all their attacks, then it makes the round just so much more difficult. And that's why I would definitely agree with you guys. Like I think that they do have that one.
Well, fine. I will break ranks for my own team. I think that Ebony last round, he played really well, and he definitely helped carry that. But again, it was against a bit more of a split skill team, whereas this one's going to be both, top like 6 players in the tournament. I think that, especially Jay has played a ton with Ebony, so he's going to be familiar with the style and have enough skill to play around it. And I think Guinan is also an experienced enough player that they're going to be able to eke this out. I still think it's going to be a stupidly close matchup and super fun to watch, which I usually don't say about Ebony series because I've seen too many of them. But I think it's going to be very, very close. But I think that Guinan and Jay Guinan and Jay, I forgot who his partner was for a second, and then I had to stumble. We'll be able to pull it out in a 3-2. Next one, then, we have PDDCM and War Machine versus Math and TripL. You got any fighting words before we make our predictions, Math?
You're gonna have to see these hands. It's gonna be a good game, man. I think it's PD has a better partner. So I think it's gonna be a definitely a knock around, beat 'em up match.
Really, you'd rate War Machine over your own partner, and you'd do so saying it to his face?
No, I'm talking about a better partner from last round. A better partner from last round. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
We also have you in the matchup, Trip. I forgot. So you got any fighting words yourself? Come on, you got to do better than the last set.
I don't think I can do better than the last set. And I
meant
plan
the
on
last set of
maintaining my
fighting
record.
words.
Oh, fair. Well, I don't plan on dropping my 3-0 record, so good luck.
All right. How do you think this one goes, Alice?
Oh, well, yeah, PD has a better partner, a better Freya jumper, excellent Freya jumper. But I think that TripL is gonna be top tier this time, and math with math he's gonna win this series. I'm not gonna talk bad about my team.
Well, you don't
There
have
you
to
go.
talk bad about your team, but you can predict the other team to win if you think they're going to win. What about you, Skimmy? Who takes this matchup?
I think PDD and War Machine. And like I didn't really get to see PD, but like with everything I've heard about him, like it just sounds like he's gonna have a really good matchup, and Ebony, sorry, Murders, like Murder was so like demoralized and upset that he couldn't get War Machine, that like when we had an extra person join, which was I believe Mario, he was like, "Hey, you guys can have Mario instead of our extra slot if you can give us War Machine." Like I can feel that just sort of confidence in that player, and then just like we got our first pick, we got a character, a person that like our captain really wanted to have on our team, and I feel like it's a really strong pairing compared to like I feel like our teams were really really like lopsided, and I feel like this is a really a solid team.
It'll be interesting to see this round versus last round for PD because he's going against Math again. I'd say Math has gotten an upgrade in a partner, and so has PD, and we'll have to see how much a difference that makes here. I think PD suffered a lot last round from not being able to rely on his partner outside of Palace. And War Machine is shown to be a much more resilient player, and maybe that'll unleash a much higher level of gameplay out of him whenever he's able to rely on him in more than one game out of the series. But TripL and Math are going to be a tough team to take down. So I really struggle to make an honest prediction on this one. I feel like I don't have enough data to do anything other than just throw out numbers. But I've always got to have my boys back. So I think I have to predict PD taking the series 3-2. But I think it's going to be a 6 series. Next one is Brawley and Schmidt versus Darcia and Shadow Shield. Who takes this one and why, Skimmy?
I definitely think that Brawley and Schmidt, just like Brawley was so dominating, and like in the fact that like, or not dominating specifically, but actually I guess you could say that because how the game went, but like just the way he plays with his teammates and the way that he seems to kind of just always be in the right place at the right time. And then like I played with Schmidt like on the last round, and like he was phenomenal. Like if there's ever like another tag event, I would definitely like love to just tag with him in just a full on event. So like I have the utmost confidence in my team specifically because of those reasons.
What about you, Trip?
I think Broly and Schmidt are going to take it because even if Broly stays without a mic, Schmidt is a very vocal player and also one who's very good at going ahead and getting call outs and communicating. True. I think that the Broly Schmidt pairing is going to be a real beast just because of the team dynamic and not so much the arsenals fielded or the technical finesse. And I think as solid of a matchup as it's going to be, that Broly and Schmidt are just going to run away with it, and it's going to be a 3-0 their favor.
No faith. What about you, Math?
I think this is going to be pretty interesting because, like I said, it's a different story when you see it and when you face it with Shadow Shield, and with Brawley being more of a melee player that I've seen from when I played him through this tournament so far. Those two melee type styles going against each other. It's numbers wise, it's favoring Shadow Shield because he hits once and you're out the game. So it's going to be interesting. I think I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to pick Shadow. I'm a fan. Shadow and Darcia. Darcia is actually a really solid player. I've seen him play, and he does a good job. So I'm going to side with them, in an upset.
Even calling it an upset. No faith. Alice, please shower me in faith.
Well, I actually think that Broly and Schmidt can win pretty easily this matchup because these guys are not used Darcia and Shadow Shield. I don't know how they are used to bravery, and with Broly coordination that will defeat them pretty easily.
All right.
So
I think that you're all wrong because if you haven't played Shadow Shield, it's an experience. And neither one of them's played Shadow Shield, and I don't think they're ready for the dance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, next matchup, we've got Skimmy himself and Game God versus Anubis and Killamark. Skimmy, tell us why you're going to redeem Game God this round.
Because I'm 3-0, and just saying we'll go with that. Because I'm 3-0, it's as easy as that. I'm undefeated in tournament.
He's 0-3. That comes out to a 0-0.
Because I am undefeated in tournament play entirely. How about that? I can't lose my streak. It's like the palace streak that somehow you manage to lose anyway, but except for mine's actually good.
Ooh.
Guess who you're playing in round 3? Coming for that. All right, Matt, who wins this one and why?
I think people are going to sleep on Killer Mark. I helped him with a lot with his arsenals, and I think he's got some stuff that is gonna surprise people. Um, I'm still gonna go with Gamer God and Skimmy, but I think it's gonna be a really good series.
All right. What about you, Alice?
Yeah, I agree with them. I think that well, well, I went easy on you, Skimmy. Next time, it's not gonna be that that easy, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, I think that this favors Game God and Skimmy.
Trip?
I think everyone's undervaluing Mark, like Matt said. I think it's definitely going to be. I think Mark's going to pull out some interesting strategies because you see him hitting with things that really shouldn't, like Killer Satellite. I've lost games to Mark because of Killer Satellite. Not salty about that or anything. And I think that he's enough of a wild card that it's going to trip up both Skimmy and God and in-game God. I think they'll take it. It's going to be close, probably a 3-2.
I think my big question mark is Anubis in this one. I've only seen a couple games out of him. I wasn't super convinced off the start here. I want to see if he steps up and shows some quality or if he's going to crumble here. And I think this will be an important matchup to determine what kind of player he is.
Definitely.
All right, we got two left. We got, well, no, we've only got one left. We have Snowtide and Mirage taking on Nathan and Odin.
Wait a minute. Didn't you skip Algol
Skip
and Choices versus you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I did, I guess.
Skip yourself.
We'll do that one after this one.
He wants to be last. That's what it is.
Oh, don't worry. I'll manage that before the tournament's over.
I'll go.
So we got Mirage
Got a
and
new streak
Snowtide
to
versus
maintain.
Nathan and Odin. Let's do that one first. Who wins and why, Math?
I haven't seen Odin. I don't know really much about him. I do know about Wolf. It's
He's a
gonna
British
be...
Alice.
That's the
Okay.
perfect description.
Okay. This is gonna be interesting. It depends on how much Nate is able to get on with him and get some synergy. So, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go Nathan and Odin by, yeah, super close. But I don't know what I'm getting out of Odin. And I'm thinking Nate is going to be a little bit peeved from last round, so I think he's going to come out with some fire.
What about you, Trip?
I can't make a call on this match because Odin is like the British ales, but he has this particular air of just loves to brew decks so much that I can't tell if he's gonna stumble across just some unexpected gold mine and just help Nathan, or if he's gonna try and run his latest greatest thing that's just another flop. I think it really comes down to what Odin brings to the matches. I think only time will tell because I think everyone's it's really going to be determined by the arsenals that people run these games. So I don't know. I'd have to say stick with the team loyalty and favor Nathan and Odin a little over Tide and Mirage, but
All right, Alice, what do you think of this? Does British Alice take this or no?
As TripL say, I think that this depends on which kind of arsenals they bring. I think that I've talked to Olin in round one so much. He has some very interesting ideas that really
that's a
really
word
can
for it.
make this a win for our team. So if he managed to use them correctly, our team is gonna win.
All right. Who hasn't chimed in on this? Is it
I
Skimmy?
It's me.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, with Team Pride here, Snow and Mirage, just because like from the games that I've seen, I think that both of those players just played a little bit better than their opponents in their games. And anyways, like the Snow Clan is they've won every game they've been in. I mean, with the exception of there's one game that had a Snow versus a Snow, which the Snow Clan still won in this case. But I'm just saying, Team Snow hasn't lost yet. So.
But we have the snow that conquered the other snow, so we have the ultimate snow.
That's fair.
All right, so I did accidentally skip my own matchup, so let's do that one last then. Algol Mantis and Some Poor Choices versus myself and the ultimate snow. Who takes it and why, Math?
I'm going with you guys. I think you and Snow will bring out. Snow's pretty solid player. I played a couple of matches with him, I think a day or two ago. Gets a little frustrated sometimes when stuff doesn't work out, but he has some solid mechanics. Just needs a little bit of guidance, and he's perfectly fine. So depends on if what the series will be. I think you guys will win, but it depends on what the series be with choices, how much practice he gets in with Algo.
What about you, Skimmy?
I'm actually in favor of you guys, of you and Snow. Because Snow. No, I wanted to make that same joke, but I mean, yeah. No, but my actual reasoning is because it seems like Poor Choices has a lot of variance in his play. Like he can play really well, or he could just kind of derp off, like in one of the games in the previous round. And that's I feel like that's the deciding factor is the fact that is that he plays he can play it's a crapshoot. It's either really great or kind of off to the side, like it, and where you guys just seem to have a what is it called, like a good baseline where what you can expect, what you can expect. Where I want to say I would put my money on the one that I know what I'm getting out of versus the one that I don't know what I'm getting out of. And I'm not saying Poor Choices will play bad. I'm just saying I don't know how Poor Choices play.
Fair enough. What about you, Trip?
I think you and Rise are going to be able to sweep Algol and Choices. Just because you have a certain level of play that I don't think the opposing team can match, and they're going to struggle a lot to take you down, which is just going to give the Ska team a lot more sustain in these matches, and you're just going to win the long game and take favorable trades throughout, and unless they run some really random jank that catches the both of you off guard, you're going to take it pretty convincingly.
All right, last prediction then out of Alice.
I'm gonna say the same. I don't know how Choices and Mantis play, but I know that you, Bregan, and Snowrise can coordinate and win this match.
All right. Faith is restored. Let's hit a couple of last roundup topics and then we'll close things off. I'm not going to hit all the ones that we had talked about just in the sake of time.
Mm-hmm.
What player either came to play or got the upset? Like, who was the player that stepped up and impressed you from what you had thought, or maybe you didn't know who they were? Why don't you go first, Skimmy?
Well, I mean, I didn't really know who anyone was, to be honest, except for Orange.
You poor bastard.
I'm just being serious. No, but from just like hearing what I had heard from like my team and from just like, because as I got into the tournament, I kind of tried to kind of research the players and just kind of see what about them, and like I was really like genuinely surprised about Broly. Like that one just the way he plays without a mic, and like I said, his positioning just seems really good. And to me, that just sounded like, it just surprised me so much compared to like anything else. Like everyone else, like was kind of a non, like I didn't have a lot of opinion on, other than I know Orange plays Jank, and so like there wasn't a lot of things that I had to go with. But the one thing I did know that like I felt like like not having communication would be such a big detriment to him, and it didn't really seem like him not being able to talk. I know he can be heard, or he can hear, but he can't he can't be heard. And I think that to me just says so much about the quality of play he has. Like it's really great, and that really surprised me a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising to see him step in and do so well. But he had a really good partner, and he had a favorable matchup as well. And it'll be interesting to see him go through these subsequent rounds and see if he maintains that level of brilliance as well.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Alice, player that showed up to play?
Okay, so I'm gonna say TripL, man. You came here and you show how good you can be, and keep in that way, man.
Thank you.
What about you, Math?
I've got two. First, Gagnon came up to play. I'm surprised he's able to get back to form so quickly, being off of the game for a while. But the real player is TripL. I think TripL and Sky, seeing them come to play in that first match, man, that was definitely surprising. So yeah, those guys.
What about you, Alice?
You say TripL.
Yeah, you already did.
Yeah.
TripL is the one who hasn't gone.
I'm gonna say Orange, just because how intelligently he used his jank in the tournament matches. I was expecting whoever he got paired with to just have a sort of runaway domino effect of them already being under pressure, and then he does something that just hurts his team more than it hurts the other team. But he was using everything on point, on time, and I think he's much more of a threat in the tournament than I was originally giving him credit for.
I'm going to have to say Skaboss for me, and not just for his play, but also his drafting. I was worried at first when I saw his first couple of picks. I thought, oh man, what if this ends up too one-sided? But he really had a really good, strong draft by the end of it, and I was really impressed with that. And then also how much he showed up as captain, making sure we're all organized and getting things done. I've been really impressed with him. And on top of that, he came in and took a hot steaming dump on Game God's face, and that always does my heart good. Always does my heart good. Loved it.
Jeez.
Absolutely love it. Skaboss is killing it as a captain, as a player, and in the draft.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, last topic then. Matchup that you want to see that we haven't seen yet. What is your dream matchup, the Cinderella Princess story for you, Math?
That's a tough one. I would like, honestly, I would like to see me and Ebony versus Gagnon and PD.
Get the old
That'd be fun.
original Bash brothers back together, and you think you can take them down with Ebony?
Oh, yeah, I think that'd be a pretty fun match to watch.
Nice. What's your dream matchup, Alice?
Well, it's more or less in round two, but Murder and Evil versus Eska. But instead of Jester, I will say that you or maybe Math. I would like to see that.
Nice. What about you, Trip?
I'd like to go against PD and Murder as myself with Ebony. I haven't played a lot of games with Ebony, except we got a couple of pickups in recently, and I really think our styles complement one another, and I'd really like to see how it holds up against the heavy hitters of Murder Team.
Nice one. What about you, Skimmy? What's your dream matchup?
I think I'd like to see Murder and PD versus Skabas and Ebony, and just say, which team leader chose the right first pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Interesting. I like it. All right. Does anybody have anything else they want to add here at the end? Any last thoughts, memes?
I'm
Nothing?
sorry, Game God. Are you okay?
Somebody go check on him. Has anybody even checked to see if he's alive after that last series?
He is indeed alive. He's my partner. I've talked to him a little bit.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, make sure you give him an extra hug after this round. He's gonna need it.
We'll be having victory hugs. It's okay.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to yet another podcast, and for everybody's participation so far in the tournament. I think it's been a great success, and I hope to see more tournaments like this one after. We'll hit you with more podcasts probably in later rounds. I don't want to guarantee a round yet, but we're also planning to do an interview with both captains after round 2 or 3 to kind of have them defend their picks and talk about how they feel the tournament's going from their draft perspective. So make sure you tune in for that and more tournament action. I'm sure we'll have plenty of those videos coming up this week. Thanks again.